With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes.
You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo, and the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5.
We're different from any other sports.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B.
What's going on, man? Yo, I have to start this show by telling you this. Anthony, I appreciate everything you do every day as a person and as an individual and as the show and as a brother. So I'm going to give you your flowers today before we even open up with the show. So if you ever feel underappreciated by yours truly, pause. It took too long, but you get the point. What's good, man?
I feel like you're up to something. I don't know what, but it feels like you're up to something. And I don't know if I fully trust that those flowers. I'll take them, but I don't know, man. What's going on, man?
Nothing, man. So earlier, I had to give Tasha a shout out. She's just been doing a tremendous job behind the scenes of Off the Record. And we was in a group text. So, I just wanted to let her know how I appreciate her. And I seen the text. I seen your response, and it was wow. And I realized that you was. I didn't realize that you was responding to something else. I was like, man, Ant feels like nobody appreciates him. So I was like, you know what? As part of my running joke, I'm just going to appreciate you at least 10 times throughout the show, man. So you just get.
All right, well, this is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
It's your boy Scotty B.
All right, so we do have a special guest today. And we'll get to her in a bit, but and there's been a lot going on in the world period the last week, and I mean whether it's the sports where I think the verdict yesterday, we got the verdict yesterday, and I think that crosses over to the sports world as well as regular everything, so that was a lot yesterday. I think that personally it was I guess you could say a breath of fresh air, but I mean it was a lot. What were your thoughts on getting the verdict yesterday?
Small victories. I think me and you had discussed before the verdict came out, and I thought it was something that you had brought up is there is progression. At least the conversation is being had. We've got the attention of a lot of people, and it's not as progressive as a lot of people would like it to be. But at the same time, it was they recognized that they had to get this right. It was sad just thinking before the verdict came out that he might get off. And I think that went through a lot of people's head that there's a possibility that they will figure out how to make him right in this situation and not charge him with all 3 counts, and he would get a slap on the wrist. So to see that the jury convicted him of all 3 charges, it was tremendous. I mean, you hate to see somebody have to go away, but it was just, I think it sends some sort of message to a lot of the police officers that the day of being able to just do what you want to do and get away with it, those days are numbered. So I was glad to see that, at least as a country, we're starting to take the steps in the right direction.
Absolutely. I agree, man. I like you said, man, the fact that there was doubt when we literally could see everything happen on camera, it was crazy. And there was apprehension with I know myself, with you and some people that we talked to, and it was just man, it shouldn't be that way. You know, I mean, you see somebody do something criminal on camera, it should be 1, 2, 3. But you know, because it was who it was, and they had to take the wrong road. And I'm sure we'll definitely talk about this a little bit more. Later on this hour. Also, with the NBA, because of when it happened, it was during the stoppage, and they were getting ready to come back into the bubble. So I think the NBA and the WNBA had a little bit more. It affected them a little bit more than it would any of the other leagues, and it just so happens that the WNBA draft just happened, and the NBA is pretty much wrapping up the regular season and getting into the playoffs. Getting into that playoff run that we have the verdict. I think that there's a bit of irony there, but yeah, man, it was a lot. Yesterday was a lot.
Well, it's good that you bring that up, because I think the NBA and WNBA were really instrumental in promoting awareness about it. Had they not protest or stayed silent and dribbled or whatever you want to call it, and not wore the T-shirts and spoke up about their feelings on it, I mean, it still would have been a national story. But I think the fact that you could kind of tie in that these things are happening in the Black community, and how it even impacts our athletes the same way as it impacts the normal person, it forced society to have to listen. And the fact that they were thinking about not playing at all, because of this, and they had stopped play, and the WNBA, I mean, they were just at the forefront of it. I think that created more of a buzz with it. This case was monumental. It was monumental. I looked at it, and I think you looked at it, and I think we realized and we recognize that most people looked at it, but just the extent of how far it went. You look at ESPN yesterday, they stopped even tell the verdict of it. I mean, it was very instrumental in our history, and it's going to be interesting to look back and see how it impacts everything moving forward.
All right. So I think it's time we bring in our guests.
Okay.
Let's get up in here. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
What's up?
Terrika.
Yeah.
We got Terrika Foster Brasby. Did I say that right?
You did. You nailed it.
Listen, I'm just here. I'm just trying. I'm just trying. But we have she is a special guest. She's native of Detroit. She's covered the NBA, the NFL, NCAA. She's worked with ESPNW and ESPN's The Undefeated, among other things. So she has a wealth of knowledge, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to chop it up with you guys tonight.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I want to tell you, when I found out that you were coming on, I had to stop. I said, we might have made it big. We might be big. We might be big time now.
Already doing it way before me.
Oh man.
Yeah. So go ahead, Scotty.
Yeah. So you're a Detroit native. I was born in Michigan, but I won't claim any of the teams except for the Wolverines. But it is what it is. But are you a Pistons fan?
I am a Pistons fan, but I gotta tell you, I'm totally not a Wolverine fan.
No.
We already beefing on this podcast. We already beefing on this show. I was definitely in my feelings. I was definitely in my feelings this NCAA tournament season, but I felt a little better because UCLA got as far as they did. So I was like, all right, cool.
UCLA beat Michigan and Michigan State, but
okay.
Ain't that something?
So let me ask you, as a Pistons fan, what are the Pistons missing?
Oh God, everything. Where do I start, man? They're missing a little bit of everything. The thing that they're missing the most to me is real, genuine leadership, and not necessarily on the court, but in their front office, because the decisions that are being made are what are holding the Pistons back. We got a guy right now. I don't know if you heard of him. His name's Jeremy Grant. He's a beast. He's he's that dude right now, balling. And there are rumors swirling that, they might want to trade him. They might want to find out, what can they do to move him. And I'm like, why would you move him? He's balling right now. Like, this is the kind of guy that you want to build a team around. This is the kind of guy who said when he came to Detroit, he wanted an opportunity to show that he can be a leader. He wanted an opportunity to show that he needs to be a starter day in and day out. And he's done that by far. And y'all are talking about possibly getting rid of him. So this is the first thing that they need. They really just need to get a true leader to help build this organization. And they haven't had that since Joe Dumars. And that's really been sad.
So we got a small bet, and I'll let you get to ask two questions back to back. But we got a small bet when Detroit bought out Blake Griffin, and he went to the Nets. I said that Blake has seen his better days. Probably is not going to average more than 10 points.
You said five.
Anthony,
whatever.
I said five, or whatever. And Ant, Ant said that he's going to average over 10.
I said around 10.
He said around 10. So we have a bet whether or not Blake Griffin is going to average over 10 points.
Okay.
What do you think? What do you think he's going to average?
I definitely think that Blake is going to average more than 10 points. Okay. My issue with Blake was, or actually let me rephrase, because I really didn't have an issue per se with Blake. Again, this boils back down to leadership and bad movement. And after a while, this became a bad fit. And you know how players are when they no longer want to be in a situation. They don't care. They don't really give 100% effort. Yeah, there were injuries here and there, but I never thought for a second that Blake did not have the ability to still contribute. He still has the ability to contribute to impact the game. He's still big inside, and he's still somebody who has a decent enough shots that he can be able to just the smallest bit of production from him makes a difference in the game. And now that he's playing alongside guys like KD and James Harden, and he's on a Nets team that is primed to win, that has that leadership that Detroit was lacking, he's in a better position where he wants to be their number one. And when you are somewhere you want to be, your production will reflect that. So I'm certain that Blake can give you 10, 12 points a game. He can give you 12, 14 a game still right now. He's not going to give you LA. He's not Clippers Blake no more. No. But he don't need to be. You know what I mean? He doesn't need to be. He can come off the bench. He can give that inside production that they need in Brooklyn, and he'll be fine. He wasn't going to be able to do that in Detroit. Besides, they needed him to be much more than that in Detroit, and he didn't want to play in Detroit anymore. I'll tell you, there were rumors circulating that Blake was unhappy being in Detroit when Detroit gave J. Cole a tryout. And I can definitely understand that. Like, what type of silly organization are you that you're giving J. Cole? It's no shade to J. Cole. I love J. Cole, and he can ball. You know what I'm saying? But this ain't AM1. You know what I mean? Like, this is the NBA. We're really giving J. Cole a tryout, right? So that right there just kind of lets you know where Detroit was headed. And it makes sense that Blake wanted to be out.
And you have to ask her. You have to ask her since she brought it up.
J. Cole?
Yeah.
All right, so first of all, I just want to let Scott know that I really dislike him right now. Because so here's the thing. Because every week that we have some sort of guest or somebody or anybody, he tries to take a shot and say about Blake Griffin, right? Do you know this man, first of all, sent me a text message. I want to say it was last night or early this morning. I can't remember. A screenshot of Blake Griffin's average while he was with the Nets. I mean, just petty. Just petty.
I'm here for the petty, though.
Yeah, and so for the record, Blake Griffin is only averaging 7.8, but that's more than what Scott said and he's missed a lot. You know what I mean? Listen, it's the Nets. First of all, I don't think the Nets are gonna make it to the championship. I'll just tell you that right now because, we don't know if they're gonna be healthy enough to make it to the championship. Maybe next year, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Nets lose in the second round. That's just me, guys. Don't listen.
I'm not really gonna say the second round, but I definitely hope and have my fingers crossed that the Nets meet up with the Sixers in the Eastern Conference Finals. To me, that would be the ultimate conference finals.
And who would you have?
I would have the Sixers coming out, not Brooklyn.
What are you talking about? Okay.
Yeah,
so,
Joel Embiid is just nothing to play with right now. And let's keep in mind when they played them last week, they didn't have the Nets didn't have a full squad, but neither did the Sixers. Ben Simmons didn't play, and that's the best defensive guy in the league right now, in my opinion. So realistically, they both, could have put on a better performance if they were both playing at full strength. So that would be the ultimate Eastern Conference Finals to me. And I'm giving the edge to the Sixers in 6.
Oh, you said in 6. She gave me a number 2. Oh, so absolutely. Let's
Yeah.
She's in 6. All right, so let me ask you this. We're still in sports, but a somewhat personal question. You are a woman in sports, right? And so coming up, how difficult do you think it is and has been for women to come up in sports, just in general, just with everything, you worked on ESPN and different things. How difficult do you think it's been to be a woman in sports?
It's twofold actually, right? So there's being a woman playing sports, and then there's being a woman covering sports, right? And so as an athlete, I didn't really realize that I was different when I was younger. You know what I mean? It was just something that, sports was a big part of my household growing up. I grew up with my grandparents. After church on Sundays, we watching the Tigers play at 1:00. This was an everyday thing. So we even watched hockey in my household. We watched the Red Wings. You know what I mean? We were at the parade downtown on Woodward. It was a big deal. So
wow.
It wasn't a weird thing to be a girl in sports, in my vicinity, even in my neighborhood, whenever we were outside tossing around the football or playing at the basketball court or whatever, it was common to see girls. So that wasn't really anything different for me. Covering sports wasn't really that bad when you were covering women's sports. It only becomes a challenge when you're trying to cover men's sports. Then all of a sudden there becomes you never played in the NFL, so how you never played football? Well, sir, actually, I did play Little League football, and I was a receiver, and my mom told me don't play no more once I got hit off the slant and almost broke my leg. She was like, no. No, you better cheer or something, because this is not happening no more. So there's that, but there's there is the basically the you can't tell me anything because you never played or you don't truly understand the game. There's just this inferiority complex that I think some men have, because majority of the criticism comes from men, that for whatever the reason, we're not qualified. We don't know enough. We don't have enough. Now add to that I'm a Black woman covering sports. Now we've just added on to the list of qualifications I'm not supposed to have because I'm a Black woman. There isn't a lot of spots. There isn't a large field for someone like me, but I am happy to say that over the last year or so, I've definitely seen that change. I am seeing more women be involved in the sports arena publicly, being seen, being recognized, being respected. I mean, we still have those trolls on social media who tell us to go to the kitchen, who tell us we don't know what we're talking about. When it comes to cup, y'all only got 5 fans, stuff like that. Of course, there are those people that are out there, but you just have to be confident. I'm very confident. I know what I'm talking about. I know that I'm well researched whenever I'm writing a story or, if I'm producing a podcast, whatever it is I'm doing, I want to make sure I'm fully educated on it. I try my best to be as objective as possible, unless we're talking about one of my teams, then I'm definitely going to throw my disclaimer out. There's no objectivity when it comes to my teams.
You sound like Scott. Okay.
I mean, listen, maybe it's a Michigan thing. I don't know, but like, it's all good. Start talking about my squad, then we got a problem. But that's just kind of how it is.
So I do got a question. Since you brought up the WNBA, I know you cover women's college sports. Why do you think that it doesn't get the coverage that it should and is so disrespected?
This is going to sound so cliche, right? But it's because we're women. And I know people are going to say, no, that can't be the truth. That can't be the case. But it really is. Like, people are really still that shallow that we're not supposed to be able to make these kinds of moves or do these kinds of things. And then there's this, not only is the WNBA a league full of women, it's a league that's almost 90% all Black women. It's a league that is very sensitive to the LGBTQ plus community. It's a league that is open, and it's a league that is kind of more real than any other league. And by that, I mean, they're not afraid to speak up. They're not afraid to say how they feel about something. They're not afraid to stand up against something, regardless of what's stacked against them. And when you think about it, I'll give you an example. Last year, I think everybody remembers August 20th, which is the day when both the NBA and the WNBA decided not to play after the Jacob Blake shooting. And the WNBA players decided to stand alongside their NBA counterparts and not play. Well, here's the difference. The NBA, y'all got that TV money. The NBA has players that make millions of dollars. They are on television all the time. For them to make up a game is nothing. The WNBA did not have the same kind of coverage that the NBA has. So for them to say, we're going to forego playing in front of millions of people when we always complain about not having the ability to play in front of millions of people from a TV standpoint, because this matter means more to us than being on NBA TV or being on, ESPN or whatever channel the game was going to be on. That just kind of shows you the level of fortitude that these women have. And not a lot of athletes have that, right? So it's a bunch of different things from that perspective, but it really all boils down to people still just haven't found it in themselves to give women the respect that they deserve, and it shows.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I think that the WNBA, they made a hell of a statement. I mean, you just for people to think that the statement that they made didn't matter. I mean, they ultimately got someone elected who was. I mean, I think he had in the polls. I think he had like it was like a 3% or 5% shot at winning, and he ended up winning because of the WNBA. And he was it wasn't the governor. It was
it was the senator Raphael Warnock. Yeah.
And I mean, he didn't have a shot. I mean, without the WNBA. And granted, that lady who owned the Atlanta Dream, she kind of did herself in as well. I mean, she helped them. She helped them a lot along the way. But I think that whole Trump type rhetoric that they were spewing, people were tired of it, and so
you're in a league. You are in a league, and you are the co-owner of a team that is the direct, the best word to say it. They are the direct. Now I don't want to say objects because I don't want to call people objects, but the same people, the same marginalized set of people that 45, because I refuse to say his name, that he targets are the same people who represent the team that you co-own, and you don't support them. You're basically saying, I think this is foolishness. Let's keep this out of sports. Like, this is like, I don't understand how you expect it to not only remain co-owner, but to remain having the respect of these women who you are supposed, you're working for. You're there,
right.
They work for you. This is how you treat your employees. This is what you view us, how you think of us. So it was for all those people who say we don't watch the WNBA, I like to tell them millions of people in Georgia clearly watch the WNBA.
Absolutely. And I would say, just going back to the tournament, and Scotty and I talked about this. I felt like the women's NCAA tournament this year was better than the men's. I mean,
it was.
Yeah, the Final Four, to have those games go down the way they went down in the Final Four was crazy. And then you had, the men's Final Four. You had 2 blowouts, but it was crazy. So
yeah, for sure.
I think that let's not forget that she is a graduate of a CIAA school.
I sure am.
It's not Virginia State. It's not Virginia State.
Right?
Oh wait, y'all are you're a Virginia State grad?
Yeah, we went to Virginia State.
Oh my goodness.
And I got one better because I don't know. I'm sure I probably seen, but you probably. I mean, I don't know. It was so many people there that the last NABJ conference in Miami, I was there. I was there.
So I went to the NABJ conference in DC. So I missed Miami and I missed Detroit. So I was mad. Like, how y'all go to Detroit? And I missed Detroit. I was so upset that I missed Detroit. But CIAA, funny story. I was in a band when I went to St. Albans, right? And I was in a band. And I used to hate having to play Virginia State, especially in Petersburg, because I don't know what it is about that stadium, but like there's like a tunnel or something, and the way that the freaking bass from the tubas sound is so horrifying, because like my school had a small band and I was like, oh, they trying to intimidate us with these big old, like, 900 people y'all come. I used to I loved Virginia State and hated Virginia State at the same time.
Yeah, so now I have a question about HBCUs. My daughter has interest in going to an HBCU. Do you think that women particularly and because it's tough. I mean, and having just even for men to go to an HBCU to get to the NBA or NFL. Do you think that? And I know we just had a top recruit go to Hampton. Mm-hmm. Right. So do you think it's going to take something like that for women to get the recognition from HBCUs at the WNBA level and above?
I don't think so. I'm going to put it in the same perspective that I put the men, right? Because there is a misconception that most HBCU, well, there are HBCUs that are Division I. There are in Division I conferences, right? Like you have your Hamptons, you have your Howards, like they're in Division I competition. And so there is an opportunity for you all to be seen. But this is what I tell people all the time. The recruits, the coaches are going to go where the talent is. The problem is the talent doesn't believe that they can be recruited at an HBCU. So therefore they don't go to HBCUs, right, which is what makes, Mahu Maker so ridiculously awesome that he chose to go to Howard, because people are going to follow him because of where he is. They don't care that he's at Howard. I use the example of Darius Leonard. Darius Leonard is another one. He plays for the Colts. He went to South Carolina State. Dude's all pro. You know what I'm saying? Defensive rookie of the year. Like, no one cares that you went to South Carolina State. And I mean, like, we care as HBCU grads. We're excited about it. But your talent far exceeded where you went to school, that you weren't able to get on. You were able to put it out there. And I think that helps to open the door for other student athletes who want to attend HBCUs. I think of Shakila as well. Shakila had a quadruple double like 2 years ago, 2018, I believe it was. She had a quadruple double. We had her on a couple shows at ESPN because we don't care you went to an HBCU. Right. When you drop a quadruple double,
you balling.
Absolutely.
Like that, like it doesn't matter like where you're playing. That is something that's insane. And I believe she's playing overseas now. But I say all that to say that the opportunity is there. We just really need students to understand, like, you are not limited by where you go to school. Of
Absolutely.
course, larger schools, more prominent Power 5 schools, they have more money, they have more access to different facilities and different equipment. They have, way more. And so that's where we really need to be tackling, like, what do we need to do in order to redistribute these funds so that the HBCUs and other schools that aren't part of Power 5 conferences can have the opportunity to have the same type of facilities and the same type of training aspects that other schools have, that the bigger conferences and the bigger schools have. But you can definitely do it if you want to. And we just need to continue as alums. We need to continue to force and press that issue.
Absolutely.
So one thing that you brought up ESPN, and if you just check your background, it's just well versatile, and you've done a lot of things. But one of the things that you've done that's been pretty impressive is you've produced for some of the top people the top sports personalities at ESPN. How's that experience been, and how's it helped you in your growth?
It has been very humbling at times, and also it's something that I never thought that I would have the ability to do, to be completely honest with you. When I first started at ESPN, I was still in grad school. I was planning a wedding. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I was just so excited to be at ESPN, but it was also in a time where podcasting was still kind of new, and it was still something that was kind of fresh on this, even though it had been around for a couple of years. It was still something that the company had not yet bought into per se. Like, it was still, trial and error. So I got an opportunity to work on some small podcasts and to work on some that, end up being super large, but at the time we're still building its name, which was great for me. It gave me an opportunity to make mistakes, and it gave me an opportunity to network and meet some people before they got which was great. It gave them an opportunity to get to know me and meet me, which has tremendously helped me in the long run, because, again, when you go back to the conversation of being a woman trying to cover sports, trying to make your way, sometimes it's not what you know, but who you know, right? And so having the opportunity to have worked with people like a Marcus Spears, a Maria Taylor, a Jamel Hill, Michael Smith, being able to say, not only did I work with these people, but I have built relationships with these people to where if I am not in a room, I can depend and trust on them to say, oh, but you ever talk about Terrika, or about my girl Terrika, things like that. If it ever comes up, I know that I've put myself in position with some of the top talent to where they are cool with, backing me up. They're cool with recommending me. They're cool with trusting me with their larger projects. And so I'll tell you a funny story. 3 years ago, 2021. So this is 2016. Okay. I was working on a Baseball Tonight podcast, and that's a really big podcast for ESPN. Right. And so anybody who knows baseball, watches baseball, they know Buster Olney. That's the guy.
Right.
So Buster Olney was doing an interview with, Vin Scully, who is this legendary broadcaster for the Dodgers.
Right.
And I was so hyped to be doing this interview with Buster and Vin Scully that I did the one thing every producer hopes they never do, forgets to push record. And so I literally was I'm 5 minutes into the interview, and I'm writing notes, and I'm so hyped. And I realized when I look at my board that the board is red and not green, which means it is not recording. And I'm how do I tell Buster Olney and Vin Scully they need to start over because I'm not recording this? And it was just one of those. So it's things like that, I was afraid as hell to talk to Buster for months. I was Buster, he don't like me. I messed up his interview. They ain't gonna never let me do their podcast again. It was crazy. But I'm happy to say Buster doesn't hate me. He's very cool. So those are just the type of things that I had to get over, because it's definitely a humbling experience, and it's definitely one that I feel very blessed to have.
All right, so I got a question since I asked you two and I asked you two, which kind of threw it off. You're definitely a jack of all trades, right? So you write, you produce, you cover, you do it all, and you do it everywhere. Where does your passion lie? Is it more in producing or writing, or you like to be on TV more?
My passion is definitely more in analyzation, the discussion, the debate, the on camera in front of. I just love being able to have dialogue with people. I'm an extrovert, right? So I love people. I love being around people. The pandemic is killing me. I can't be with people. But I definitely have a passion in storytelling, right? And for me, that means just having a one-on-one conversation, being able to talk to you and get to know more about you and being able to tell your story through you, right? So it's a lot of fun. That would be what I enjoy most. But second to that would actually be writing. And I know some people would think it's producing, and I tell folks all the time, producing is just a skill that I kind of picked up along the way. And it allowed me to get to this position. But writing and being able to debate or have dialogue is really where my passion lies. I love to just be able to, like, there are things that I can't always articulate vocally, but I am able to do so with a paper and pen or keyboard. And that just makes me feel so much better to be able to do that, to be able to tell somebody's story, to be able to articulate my views or opinions in a way that people can relate to and can understand it. So those are definitely my top two. But I have a ball producing. I work with LaChina Robinson. She's a women's basketball analyst, one of the most respected women in the game of women's basketball. The rapport she has with people is ridiculous. And I owe a lot to her. I don't think that I would have the reputation that I have in the women's basketball world if it were not being attached to her and having her guidance and having her represent for me and speak on my behalf. So I give a lot of love to LaChina.
All right, and that's, I guess this is kind of piggybacking off of that question. So your ultimate goal, what would you consider your ultimate goal? If there's a lifelong dream, a goal, a career goal, what do you see that as?
My ultimate in a perfect world would be to host my own sports radio talk show on ESPN, right?
Nice.
What I would love to do at this moment is to make that show a WNBA women's basketball show. I would absolutely love that. Like, we just need it. The sport is so amazing. It's getting better, and we just need it.
Well, don't forget about the little people when
yeah. And throw that rope back.
But so I know we don't have a lot of time left with you. So tell everybody where they can find you. Everywhere.
Well, I make it easy. I am on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook as She Knows Sports. So She Knows Sports. I think it's underscore on Instagram. She Knows Sports underscore. But I'm at She Knows Sports on Twitter. She Knows Sports on Facebook. Hit me up all the time. I will talk. I tweet back. I answer messages. All of that. So just thank you guys so much for having me. I've had fun. I got a meeting
we had fun too.
to get to. If I didn't have a meeting, I could talk to y'all all night. Y'all know I talk too much.
No, you're good. You're good. You're definitely good. And you're welcome back whenever you want to come back.
Absolutely.
Love the show.
And I need to get that black W, because that one looks a lot better than my orange.
Oh yeah.
I got an orange one, and I like the orange one too.
And it got the WNBA one on the arm and stuff. What?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you trying to humble brag, but that's cool. We will definitely get you on. We have so much more to talk about as far as like debate. Because I know you did say you like to debate, and this guy that's next, he likes to debate a lot. Me personally, I am non-confrontational. I do not debate anyone. I try. Okay, I'm lying. But
I was gonna say, he look like he's lying right now.
So I'll say that we do have a lot of sports debates, and today was mostly about me. So next time you come on here, we gotta have a little bit more debate, in regards to whether it's a story or who's better than who, and things that. Let me ask you a question, Rook, before you get out of here.
Okay.
I hate to do this right now, but I don't think we have a choice. LeBron, Kobe, MJ. You knew that was gonna happen. Just look, put them in order. I just want to see. And then I got another one for you too.
Are you talking? Okay, my three: LeBron, Kobe, and MJ.
Mm-hmm.
MJ, Kobe, LeBron.
All right. Okay. All right.
She might have to come on next week for that.
Yeah.
Man.
I got another one for you. I got another one for you. Tarazi, Maya Moore, or Breanna Stewart.
Come on.
I'm just asking you the questions. Breanna Stewart, Maya Moore, Diana Taurasi. You know what? I throw two more in there. Sue Bird and I'm forgetting, and Candace Parker. So you got those five.
Okay. God.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn. Okay. Oh my God. Number one is so hard. Tarazi, Maya Moore. I don't know. Okay.
I don't know. The reason why I asked you that, and you know what? I'm gonna
say Diana Taurasi number one.
Okay.
Maya Moore number two. But they either one could be interchangeable, like 1A, 1B. Either one, right? So that's Maya Moore, Diana Taurasi, 1, 2. God, I can't believe I said that. 1, 2.
So, but who's had a better career than Breanna Stewart so far? I mean, no.
Listen, I'm not.
Her resume is amazing.
We're gonna have to come back. I'm gonna have to come back
I
because got a whole argument for this. Because Breanna Stewart has had an amazing career. But I know. I knew
that you had to leave. And listen, I
did this on purpose.
See, that's how he does. He gets you all worked up. Yeah, exactly.
I see what you're doing. Now I'm about to go into my meeting with an attitude. Now, are you okay? I'm gonna say no. I can't believe he asked me about Breanna Stewart and Maya Moore. Okay.
But definitely, thank you for joining us. We'll definitely have you on again.
Thank you so much, guys.
And we'll talk again.
For sure. So see you guys.
All right, you take it easy.
All right, man, that was fun.
That was Terrika. I said it right. That's Terrika Foster Brasby. Yeah, man, that was great. I think that she brings a lot to the game, and you know, she will be a force to be reckoned with in the sports world, and I can't wait to see it.
I wouldn't be surprised if she does get her own WNBA show, or gets her show in the next year or so, and then we can look back and say, you know what? Even though she's been on ESPN and a ton of other stuff, hey, we had her here, so definitely shout out.
So one thing we didn't really get to talk about with her, and I guess we go back to that, is about the verdict and how it impacted her, and we will. But the draft is coming up. We got 8 days until the first round of the draft, man, and you know, there's a couple things that's come up, and you know how the draft is. You know, every time there's always something that comes up about someone, and I feel like it happened with Trevor Lawrence. You know, he's gonna be the number one pick, but it's been so quiet about Lawrence because we knew he was gonna be the number one pick. It felt like they had to come up with something, right? So he was interviewed and he said he doesn't really have a chip on his shoulder. I mean, they ran with it, and they ultimately made it seem like he doesn't care about football, and that was just kind of crazy. And it was something that normally happens in the media closer to draft time with different players. It happened with Zach Wilson, and even Justin Fields now. What were your thoughts on that whole Trevor Lawrence situation?
If I'm a GM, I don't care at all. This guy is a generational talent. He's probably the next. I mean, the last surefire number one pick was Andrew Luck. Since then, This guy is the truth. He's athletic enough to be John Elway, and he's accurate like Peyton. That type of talent, you can't pass on. He's only lost 4 games in college, and he's been that guy.
He lost 2 in college.
Oh, it's two in college. I'm sorry, I misspoke. But he's been that guy since he's walked on Clemson's campus. And, I remember when he first started, me and you were like, dang, who's Sunshine? Because that's what we was calling him. It was like, yo, Sunshine out there cooking. And he's lived up to every expectation that I could think of. And not to have a chip on the shoulder. When you're that good, you're just that good. And like you said, man, they're just reaching. Like I look at the Heisman, Devontae Smith, right? Mm-hmm. Now all of a sudden it's a problem because, I guess he's only 166 pounds, and can he play at the next level? And I mean, this man had arguably one of the most historic seasons as a receiver in the SEC. Easily probably one of the best first halves that I've seen of a receiver in the championship game. And it's like, now you're picking that man apart. I mean, after that game, it was like, oh, yeah, he's going second. The Jets are going to take him. And then now, he's sliding on down the draft. And they don't know when he's going to be picked. So, like you said, man, each year they find something wrong with everybody. The truth is there's still 21 to 22-year-old men that they have to develop. They have to progress. You're not going to be able – I mean, you have players that do come in and make an impact, but Devontae Smith, he can add weight. He can get with the right trainer, and they could get him in his body NFL ready. Trevor Lawrence, he could develop that.
I'm almost certain that Devontae Smith he's NFL ready. His body's NFL ready. I mean, he's little, but I mean the thing is you gotta catch him to hit him. So I mean there are guys in the NFL that play defense that are probably as fast as him, but it ain't many. There ain't many. So I think that he'll be just fine. Will he put on weight? Absolutely. Will he be a factor on the next level? Absolutely. I think this year's set of receivers are second to none. This may be the greatest receiver class in NFL draft history. So to think that he's not going to be ready, I think is crap, and it's it's teams that have needs, So yeah, I think he should be either the first or second receiver taken off the board. I mean, you got Jamar Chase, you got Waddle, his teammate. I mean, just think about that real quick before we even like that. I want to say it was his sophomore year. I think it was Tua's freshman year. So I don't know if they were Tua he may have been a year older than Tua, but they had Waddle, they had Devontae Smith, they had Ruggs, and they had Jerry Jeudy. First of all, that is absolutely scary. Like if you think about that, you got Devontae Smith, I don't even think he was a starter. I mean, he wasn't even a starter, but he caught the game winner against Georgia. But you had Smith, you had Waddle, Jerry Jeudy, and Ruggs. And Henry Ruggs. They had a track team. Mm-hmm. That's a 4x1 team at receiver on one team. That is absurd. But that's the draft, though. I mean, they're gonna, and I guess that's doing due diligence. You're gonna pick a guy apart. I just hate that sometimes when it's like it almost seems like fake news, and it ends up hurting the guy, because that ends up happening to the black athlete a lot more than because mainly it's 70% black guys in the NFL. So yeah, I'm excited about the draft though.
Now, draft's definitely going to be exciting. So the NBA, right? So you got Anthony Davis is expected to come back tomorrow. So he's missed, I believe it's 30 games, 9 weeks. So he's expected to come back. You got Steph Curry that is playing out of his freaking mind. I saw like a stat, I think it was yesterday. We were talking about like he's got like 73s. Like 10 games in. He's averaging he's had over 30 points over the last 10 games. What are your thoughts on that, man? He's cooking.
He is cooking. Steph Curry, what it feels like is that somebody said, yo, Steph, he shouldn't be in the MVP talk. I mean, Steph is okay. He can't lead this team. And he said, okay, I'll show you who I am, and has been destroying the league in the month of April. And it's almost like he's like, let me get my name back in the MVP race. I wouldn't be surprised if he won it. If he continues like this, they won't be playing in the playing games. I can tell you that. They'll definitely be a top 6 seed. And at that point, do you give him MVP? I mean, I don't think he's gonna win it.
So right now, the Warriors are 9th. You think they can jump all the way to the 6th seed? I believe, Portland's 6th and the Lakers are 5th?
Let's see.
You got Dallas somewhere in there. I believe they're 7th.
Yeah, well, it depends on how many games are left.
I want to say the Spurs are – okay, so let's run it, right? So it's what? The Jazz are 1st. Phoenix is 2nd.
Yeah, Clippers. Denver's 4th.
4th is Denver. Yep. 5th is Portland.
No, 5th is the Lakers.
Oh, 5th is the Lakers. 6th is Portland.
6th is Portland. So now Portland is 6th at 32-25. Golden State is 29-29. They only 3.5 games out of the 6th spot. They're one hot streak away from being in the 6th seed. I mean, it's very feasible because they're at 9. San Antonio is at 10. They're 28-28. But Memphis is 29-27, and Dallas is 30-26. So, LA, the Lakers are gonna get Anthony Davis back at the right time, because I mean, it's the season's almost over. I think we got about 20 games, a little under, like 17 games.
Yeah, it's not that long left. I think the season ends right around May 6th or somewhere in that neighborhood. So
yeah, so
it might be a little bit early. Hold on. May 6th might be a little bit early. So and with that, it's one of those where, look, man, y'all better come to play every night. At this point, you got to come to play every night because hey, it's the standings are really tight. I mean, you're like, for instance, Golden State and San Antonio. If New Orleans somehow goes on a run, which I can't believe that New Orleans' record is what it is, but I mean, they're 4 games back of the 10th spot. So I mean, they're 4 games back of the 10th spot, and if that's the case, then they can go on a run. If San Antonio happens to struggle, they can go on a run, and it'll be like, oh,
Well, but the way Steph is playing, if he continues to play like that, he'll definitely be a finalist for the MVP. I think that Dame should still be a finalist for the MVP. I think Harden should be a finalist for MVP, and I still think Embiid and the Joker should be a finalist for MVP.
All right, so Embiid too. So we'll put Embiid in there. Harden just had a setback, so he's going to be out for a little bit.
Right.
Do you think that injury and his beginning of the season antics, I think that might be that's taking.
I think most people forgot about that. They don't even like, especially as bad as Houston is. It'd be different if Houston was like fighting for a playoff spot. Houston is terrible. So,
they only got 15 games won or something like that.
Yeah, they're 15 and 43. So they're terrible, you know. So I don't think that anyone believes that. You know, I don't think anyone. I think, you know, Harden looked like he knew what he was talking about. Like this team is not good enough, and they're clearly not.
Yeah, he knew he was gonna have to shoulder that load every night.
Yeah,
like, I mean, it's gonna work.
Right, and so you have him in Brooklyn, and you know, honestly, if you want to be for real, he's probably the most valuable player to that team. I think that they, you know, when they had Kyrie and Harden, they showed that they could win. When they had for the time that they had Harden and KD, they showed that they could win. You know, when it was KD and Kyrie, they were winning, but it always felt like something was missing, like they were missing a piece, and that piece is Harden. When it was KD and Kyrie, that piece, not having Harden shows. You know, I mean, because he, James Harden makes life easy for everyone on that team, and not having.
I think you're right. I think that's why they pulled the trigger and made that deal. I think they realized that they might have needed another option.
They won't even be in the championship. You could cancel Chris if Harden is hurt where he can't play in the playoff. They're not going to the championship. I'm sorry, they're not. One, you can't really depend on KD's health at this moment, and Kyrie. We know the deal with Kyrie. I mean, Kyrie is a special talent, but we don't know when he's going to take a sabbatical. You know, and
he's not going to take a sabbatical. He's
not. I don't think he is. I don't think he is either. I think he's going to be, you know, locked and loaded for the playoffs. Now, if they have all three, now we talking, because that's going to be a hell of a series. Philly versus Brooklyn. It's gonna be a good one, man. So we'll see. But don't forget about Miami. I know Miami was on a little bit of a slump. Miami, I think Boston is fool's gold. I told one of my boys that the other day. I don't believe in Boston anymore.
I've been saying that. I'm sorry, I've been saying that for a while. Everybody's kind of maybe not, but okay, we'll see.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Just for kicks and giggles, who was your winner of the week today? We couldn't get to it because we was having that was a great interview. So,
oh man, so I had Aldrin Smith up there at first all day.
Hold on. You know what? We can do it.
No, you're a winner. No, you're a winner. No, you're a winner. No, you're a winner.
Oh man, I thought you forgot about it. But yeah, I had Aldrin Smith, man. I'll just keep it short and sweet. He's had so many chances. And at this point, man, he just has to get it together. It's just I don't want to say he's had more opportunities, but he's had a lot of opportunities. And when I just saw that he was just out there for assault, it's like, man, how many opportunities are you going to screw up? You resurrected your career with the Cowboys. Seahawks took a chance with you, and then 2 days later, you're out there assaulting somebody. And it just doesn't make any sense. So he was my winner of the week. I was going with it was Mark Davis for a while, and then George Floyd's brother came out and backed him. So I kind of laid off of that. But yeah, I thought that was I get what he was trying to do, but it was just stupid. This is a stupid post.
Yeah. So with Aldrin Smith, I think that he I don't know if the Cowboys knew about this, and then they decided, no, we're not going to sign him because we don't want to deal with that headache. But you're right. I mean, he turned himself in. He got arrested. He was released on bond. But you got to get that together, man, because we'll see what happens. Let's see what happens. But Aldrin Smith deserves the win of the week this week. I'm glad you gave it to him. Yeah. So, all right, man. I think we just about done here, man. You got anything else?
Nah, no, sir.
Yeah, tell the people where they can find you at.
SQ Smith at Instagram.com.
I don't think that's how that works. But
ain't how that works.
I think you just say Scott Q Smith on Instagram. I don't think at Instagram.com. It's not an email address.
Oh man, I hate you. Yeah, I hate you. Yeah, I hate you.
My bad, man. My bad. Yeah, but follow us on Instagram, the Off the Record Show. YouTube, Off the Record Show on YouTube. Facebook is Off the Record. But that was funny. That was funny. He said on the Twitter. No, I'm joking.
Nah, somebody asked me our Twitter account the other day. I said, I gotta check my aunt. It's like, what you don't know?
It's at the OTR brand on Twitter.
I'm glad you knew.
This man Scott is amazing. All right. But yeah, man. This is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
This boy Scott.
We gone, man. We out of here.
Anthony Adebayo.
With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes.
You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo. And the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5.
We're different from any other sports.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B.